It's not all about darkness. Coming off the May 1st lunation, massive blowout of the E-Files content. Wake up and smell the actual reality roses and you'll see what's going on. See no evil, hear no evil.
Lunatic astrology.
All right, guys, we have quite the lunation ahead of us. It's intense. We're going to be embedded in a very rare finger of God, a destined mission ahead for the humanity at large and for each of us. We're going to look at this moon's connection to the lunar shadows tool for your sign. The Scorpio full moon has antecedents back in November of 24 and August of 25 that you're going to connect the dots and be shocked and surprised about how your life is actually working on a plan. Somebody made it. And this whole lunar cycle series is deeply connected to the E-Files. And if you think that stuff is over yet, wait till May the 5th. Let it unfold over the week or so afterwards and get ready for the next shock and awe light of the mucky, dirty, ugly stuff that's under the rock. So let's get going and talk about this moon. On May the 1st, 2026, we have a scorpionic lunation. The moon will be full in the sign of Scorpio at 11 degrees, and it's going to dredge up for the world a lot of secrets. The light of a full moon in Scorpio reveals what has been hidden from our view and fully puts it on display. In each of our lives, things that are hidden from view will be given to us to notice and see, but also to fulfill, to harvest, and to ripen. In today's video, we're going to talk about the world astrology in the first half hour or less, and then we're going to talk about your sign. For those of you who don't enjoy world astrology, you can jump ahead to the timestamps for your sign. But in particular, this lunation is tightly tied to the story that we all understand as the E-Files without saying the actual name of the person and being demonetized or deplatformed here. And because the E-Files are extremely tied to a cycle of lunations that occurred back in the month of August of 2025 and November 2024 using lunar shadows technique, we're going to see those stories in our face again, but this time for a big fulfillment. If you think of the E-File stories and all of that as something that's still quite, well, not quite elusive, we see a lot of what really happened. The, rock, picking up the rock and seeing the slimy things that were underneath the rock all along, fine. But this is going to be a massive energy. It's going to particularly impact the President of the United States of America. This is in a tight square to his Pluto. And you're going to notice as we go ahead and do the world astrology, how the E-Files are tied to the midheaven or the career point or reputation point of the E-Man himself. We'll call him the EpiPen for fun. That fella who may not be any longer alive, who unalived in a prison, his midheaven is at 9 Scorpio. So when we talk about a moon that's at 11 Scorpio and it's a big spotlight right up there, and that same light was shining up on the top of his sky, connected to his midheaven in August of 2000, the unalive guy, 2025. And we even go back in the lunar shadows to other stories. You're going to see November of 2024, I should say. You're going to see what I'm talking about. I'm going to teach you guys about how astrology is a really amazing divine timing tool. If you happen to catch this video before the end of May, well, my divine timing masterclass starting May 2nd will be happening. If you want to join me for 5 weekends of precision timing tools, you can take 1 or 2 tools, sign up for one or 2 modules, live classes, and Q&As. However, if you want to sign up for all of it, you want to get in there before May the 2nd, go ahead and join me. I'm looking forward to teaching information about how to enroll and descriptions of the course and the time and all the information at LoriLothian.com. But in the description box below is the link. So go take a look. All right, let me get rolling. First things first, I would say about this moon, on a first glance, the Sabian symbol is an embassy ball. All right. Now, well, you think of an embassy ball as a display of, glitter and glamour and an energetic shift towards something to do with diplomacy, because embassies belong to diplomacy. That's a good thing. There could be some stealth diplomacy going on in the world. An embassy ball also can be about arrogance or Machiavellian tactics to achieve desired ends, secret stealthy things. go on in like the backroom deals and negotiations of embassies. And I don't know if you know this, embassies are usually places where they put intelligence people planted in an embassy, okay, safely in another country to gather local intelligence. So I had a girlfriend who did that job. So it's also filled with that kind of, 3-letter agency energy as well. So there's a lot of that going on in this sky for the May 1st lunation at 11 degrees of Scorpio. One thing I feel I need to mention to you is that this is also significantly activating of not only of the E-file guy who's no longer alive, also of Donald Trump's chart like crazy. And I'll show why. I'm going to show you the chart, but also is very, very activating, very strongly activating of the chart of JD Vance, particularly his lot of fortune and Saturn within orb of this lunation and including the cycle of the last 18 months. So we see these characters very big in the picture during this moon and what falls out from it. And because this moon is connected to a square to Juno and Pluto, it could also, and Pluto in Aquarius, it can lead to fractures in international relationship agreements, as well as divorces for people in prominence connected to strong scorpionic themes, Leo themes, something to Scorpio themes and Taurus themes, those kinds of folk. So let's get started. Shall we? Like JD Vance and Donald Trump have strong themes connected to this sky. Well, let's go ahead before I do the world astrology and then talk about your sign to give you a beam of light or a hope of light in the sky. It's not all about darkness. First of all, one thing, when you want to see that there's some mold rotting in your walls, right? You don't want to be breathing it, not knowing that it's poisoning you. So what is poisoning us, right? Scorpio, the tail of the scorpion, the stinger energy of the archetype of a stinger and a poison. It's better to see that there's a poisonous spider hanging out in your bedroom under your covers. So I want you to go into this full moon with this sense of possibility of relieving the pus of what was never fully seen, so we can get it out of our collective and individual system. Because the E-Files is not just a story, as you might imagine, of misconduct of powerful males with women who of a certain inappropriate age, and also the shenanigans of that. It is a massive blackmail operation. It's international, and it involves very wealthy and powerful people in all places of power, everything from Bill Gates to maybe Deepak Chopra, hypothetically, allegedly, as well as people in power in political places. And that operation was 90% likely run by the stealth agency MOSS. AD, okay? And I don't want to even say it here. And maybe the other one that the United States has that starts with a C in collaboration or whatever. Or you could say people who have a strong affinity for the nation of IL in the Middle East, and they're backing money supporters in the United States. So that blackmail operation is an extortion operation that allows for people to puppet string people in places of power. It really isn't just a seedy, bad, tawdry novel of abuse of women, but that's just the tip of an iceberg. We want to see that whole thing like revealed and healed and cleared, so we can pay attention to what has been happening all along and get rid of that sludge, right? Drain the swamp. Well, the swamp includes the one who was going to drain it, perhaps. Now, you don't like what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what's in the news cycle. I'm just telling you what the astrology verifies. You don't like what I'm saying, but say to yourself, I don't like what she's saying. She clearly doesn't like Trump. It's not true. I'm Canadian. If I say that there's going to be a massive blowout of the E-Files content coming off the May 1st lunation, you likely see it a day or two before on the day of the moon, or up to a week or two after maximum. And it happens, then you could say, you don't like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you what's going to happen. So you don't have to shoot the messenger in the comments, right? You have to shoot the messenger in the comments. Why didn't you say, could she be right, and wait and see what happens? I'm almost at the point where I'm no longer going to do world astrology here, because you guys you just all unsubscribe because I talk about the world astrology. I'll give you an example. In the New Moon video last month, I talked about the fact that Iran has its sun in the sign of Aries at 11 degrees. And that means that there will be favoritism from Mars to that sun from April 9th until May 19th. In other words, the gods are favoring success for Iran at this time. We got a lot of people angry. Why don't I unsubscribe? This is what the sky is telling us. I also talked on the video for the May April 17th new moon, I talked about the lunar shadows technique, which I'm going to talk about today, and how it involved the bombing of tied back to something that happened several months earlier that would repeat the story of things to do with the desecration of the Christian tradition and death to, a Christian church and a priest. And then we had the two things happen after that moon, Donald Trump putting up that weird Jesus Christ post on Twitter where he looked like a healing saint. And then the second one was the most recent trending around the world, shock and awe. All Catholics, Christians around the world are just shocked that, an IDF soldier has got an upside down Jesus statue after bombing a church/village in Maronite, Lebanon, southern Lebanon village, and basically bashing the head of Jesus, right? And taking pictures of him doing that. This is the kind of thing that the actual cycle of lunar shadows told us could happen. We're going to return or recapitulate the IDF or, that country doing things against the Christian tradition. So they may make you want to be Islamophobic. They're not exactly friendly to the Christians either, just so you know. If you don't know that, well, wake up and smell the actual reality roses and you'll see what's going on. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring your picture up of the sky for all of us to see, and I'm going to share with you the Lunar Shadows tool so you can actually learn it. I'm a teaching astrologer. That's my favorite thing to do. Why the heck not? That's going to overwhelm you. It would overwhelm anyone who's not an astrologer. Let me fix it. Now, this is what the sky looks like. This is going to be around, we're a little bit off center. Let's move it forward a few minutes to get to 11 degrees in Washington, D.C. I have to be too picky, right? Good enough for me, right? Lori's not picky. Let's just line it up close enough. So here we have this moon happening in Washington, D.C. And you'll see the day of the actual moon happening near when it's perfecting, which will be in Washington, D.C. at 1 p.m. ish in the afternoon. You're going to see that the midheaven is in Taurus and the ascendant is in Leo. Well, that is J.D. Vance and Donald Trump's chart. Now, because they both have to reside there in order to do their duties, that means that this will impact both of those people extremely powerfully. So it's not just a moon, it's also a moon that's going to open up just by hook or crook luck. If they were living in another country or they were in LA, it would be different. But it's even if they're not there that day in DC, I'm telling you, because they primarily inhabit Washington, DC, it's highly activating of their sky. And you'll see that the moon is at right here and here. And you'll see that this is ascendant around 19-20 degrees of Leo, and Donald Trump has his Mars at 26. Leo is ascendant at 29. So it's really going to super activate him. JD Vance ascendant at 27 Leo. Both of them are feeling the weight of this lunation, fulfilling, completing, opening up something from underneath the rock in Scorpio, the hidden realm of the midnight hour in Trump and Vance's chart. Now, without going and showing you J.D. Vance's chart, please trust me that he has his lot of fortune at 6 degrees of Scorpio in his fourth house, as well as his IC, as well as his Mars in the third decan, as well as Saturn. Saturn moon energy in the house of where J.D. Vance lives. Okay, where does he live? He lives in Washington, D.C., right? It's going to be an incredible, important energy for him. Somehow, some way, this is not just any old moon for his story. And it's possible or conceivable that there's going to be some changes in his life. A full moon can fulfill or change or complete his residence, where he lives. We had a new moon, a new beginning for the possibility of where J.D. Vance resides on November the 19th. If you were to go back and look at November the 19th, 2025, and look for news stories about J.D. Vance, I'm not going to do it today, you might see things about his life, his private life, things going on. Does anybody know when Erica Kirk embraced his head and all that scandal? For all we know, it was back on that November the 19th lunation. So stories about Vance will be recapitulated from the lunation of November the 19th. Whatever was in his new cycle from his private hidden realms relative to his career and reputation will be back for review. Now, the more important story to me by far is what happens in the Lunar Shadows tool when we do the turn the clock back technique. What is that regarding Donald Trump? And what does it mean for the E-Files story, breaking through and breaking free? Well, into the public eye in a disclosure manner or in a vivid highlight of lunar light. Well, one thing it's going to do is this. if we were to take the chart and move it backwards, okay, and I'm not going to do it for you because I can do it for you. I'll teach it to you. So here's this moon, and I'm going to go back 9 months for lunar shadows. When we go back 9 months using the lunar shadows tool or technique, we have a Scorpio moon at 11 degrees, but it's really at 9 on the same day, what makes it a first quarter moon, right? A first quarter half moon from the sun. And it's activating anybody with, again, Scorpio and Leo placements, especially, and that's Vance and Trump. And also Jeffrey E., right? Jeffrey E., because Jeffrey E. has his midheaven in Scorpio at 9 degrees. Vance has his Saturn, here at 10 degrees, right? And Trump has his IC down here, and it squares his natal Pluto. Trump has Pluto at 10 degrees of his first house. All three characters, and Pluto represents secrets, are highly activated back then. And it's interesting that Juno is here because that means partnerships, whether it's Vice President, Veep and POTUS, or whether it's marriage stories as well. So it's going to impact the marriage stories, perhaps, of Trump, Vance, the Bonnie and Clyde operational unit of Jeffrey E. and his partner in crime, Ghislaine. And it can also operate to activate stories that will be very publicly declared. We're back in August of 25, right? In the 9 months that follow, about those characters and those themes and those stories. And that's what has happened, guys. What has happened is exactly that. It has begun the run-up since last August of a field of disclosures and information being revealed. Now, what about specifically what might have happened on August the 1st, 2025, using this tool? Because something did indeed happen on August the 1st, 2025. There was a breakthrough story by Bloomberg News. And Bloomberg News' story was simply this, okay? The revelation and disclosure from an investigative reporting by Bloomberg revealed on August 1st that the Bureau's Freedom of Information team tasked with conducting a final review of the records blacked out the names of higher ups, including the name of Donald Trump. Okay, so now the whole idea of the redaction or the blacking out of Trump's name from Freedom of Information disclosure files that the government mandated that Pam Bondi et al. Release into the public view. The scandal came out that they were redacting specifically any disclosure content that may have involved the president's name, Donald Trump. Now, this was a story that hit the E-waves as a big splash, all right? The government gave the excuse that Trump was a private citizen when Epstein's investigation took place, and therefore I said his name, and is entitled to privacy protections. So under the idea that he wasn't the president of the United States, but a private citizen, he was redacted from these files. His name was blacked out. Now, bottom line, that is about the protection of him in the public eye by the government, appropriately or inappropriately, from scrutiny and how he may or may not have been involved in that file situation. And then, of course, we saw so much disclosure and shock coming off everything that came from August the 1st until this very May 1st move of the moon into the form of fullness. Now, let's go back 9 more months as I'm teaching you a tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 months before, new moon right up here. Okay, 9 degrees or so of Scorpio. The E-Files guy, Jeffrey E., has his midheaven at 9 Scorpio. It doesn't matter that he's dead. A new beginning and a fresh start, jackhammering through reality to disclose things that were hidden from view about the dead men. Are you still talking about that? Said Trump back in 2024, or actually 25. He said that. Yes, people are still talking about that. Trump was on the cusp of winning the election that year. in November of 2024. This moon happens on November 1st. It bakes in the e-files consequences with Mercury, the disclosure news guy, into his administration, into his term as a president of the United States of America. It baked it in because Jeffrey E's midheaven is right here, guys. You can't make this up. I don't even know how else to say it. I say it all the time. I might sound ardent and shrill, but you cannot make it up. How could it be that we have right here at 9 degrees of Scorpio, the midheaven, the MC of Jeffrey E, baking in this disclosure, Mercury, reveal, news, information, not just in the 9 months that follows the election of the president, but also specifically connected to November the 1st of 2024 to August the 1st of 2025's first quarter moon. Was there a story or any news on November 1st that might be germane or relevant to what we're talking about? And I'm actually talking about the actual day, November 1st, where I could even say within 2 weeks of any of these situations. I did a little bit of research and I came up with another story. So basically, the other story that came out, I'm grabbing it for you guys, so I want to make sure that I read it properly, was The Guardian. The Guardian came out of the story 3 days before the US election, and it was Jeffrey E. details close relationship with Trump in newly released tapes. Okay. A New York author and journalist has released audio tapes. I'm reading the article that appears to detail how DT, Donald Trump, had a close social relationship with the late ex-offender, Jeffrey E. And the tapes were a part of a Fire and Fury podcast series by Michael Wolff, author of the 3 books about Trump's first term, etc. Wolff says the recordings were made during a 2017 discussion with Jeffrey E. about writing his biography. So, in other words, there was a vibrational story here already in place. November 1st, from the new moon in Scorpio at 9 degrees of Scorpio on the midheaven of Jeffrey E., squaring Pluto, secrets in Trump's first Leo first house. Also activating Saturn and the Lot of Fortune in Vance's chart. All 3 are entangled and entwined with this story. There's no 2 ways about it. Therefore, I will safely predict that the May 1st moon will include a huge grand finale, disclosure, news, and shock, and revelation and disgust about what this story is really about. Finally, it's feasible and probable that although there has been so much going on in the world with the war situation and concerns about the mental health of DT, right? It's feasible and possible that this could also be another reason that, depending on how big the disclosure levels are, that something's going to dramatically change in his presidency, even though a consequence maybe of his cognitive fragility would be more obvious. This could be something that gets people so galvanized that in the 2 to 3 weeks after this moon, people are chomping at the bit to have him, take a break from his position or his job. We'll see. The other thing I would say about it, because I got a lot of thoughts about all of this, is that it's deeper than I said in the beginning than just a SEX scandal. It's actually a control blackmail operation scandal. It's deeper than just the surface level. So we'll see some stories about that, gearing up as well, maybe more about who actually ran the operation. And as you know, as I talk about, this on April 22nd, Melania Trump came out and did a press conference to seemingly get ahead of Amanda Ungaro, and how she declares that, Melania was a part of the E group and that they were all a part of the same troupe of models who were put in places of power, like she was a honeypot or something like that. And whether that's true or not, we don't know yet. It's just being all about the news chatter of Amanda Ungaro, a really close friend of Melania, who got deported after being in America for years and being friends with the Trumps at the behest of her husband, to Trump in particular. So executive overreach. She's declaring she's going to spill the beans. I don't know if she'll be alive long enough to do that, actually, but a sudden car accident, you know what I mean? Someone's going to try to take her out. Okay, finally, let's go back to the now one. Let's go back 18 months. And I will draw our attention to one more story about this moon before we close out the narrative. Did I get it back to where it's supposed to be? Probably not, because I was going quickly. May 1st. Yeah. Yeah. All right. But the moon's not perfectly lined up. So let's line her right up there. Get her in position. Sorry, guys. I don't know how I was going by months. What's wrong with me? I'm in 2023. Sorry. Okay. Somehow I got to the years part of it. All right. So the moon, don't just ignore the 23 degrees. We'll be down here. It will be at 9 degrees. Do you notice what it's actually squaring? Does anyone notice what the moon will actually square? It will square Juno on Pluto. Juno is the marriage goddess. We'll be here all the way through till December for all of Aquarius risings, minus a break, maybe August, September, October. So a lot of Aquarian people are looking at life through the theme of a marriage or separation or divorce or commitment, those stories. And because Juno just archetypally is square the new moon, people like J.D. Vance, Donald Trump are extremely activated regarding their marital stories. Already with Melania coming out, we see something there. But, there's all the rumors about J.D. Vance's wife and him, although I think he's having a new baby. So I don't know that anything's really going to happen there. But the scandal around Erica Kirk back in, November of last year, I think it was, that's kind of the vibe for J.D. Vance, more of that chatter about how solid is his wedding vows, so to speak. China belongs to this story. China has its moon and ascendant right where this combination is. I think China will try to intercede in the war, and I'll think the moon could bring us to that turning point where May 1st, a day or two before and up to 2 weeks after, we see China stepping in to hardball, negotiate, and push for some situations in the Middle East regarding the war that it can help solve or resolve, especially given the sextile to Saturn and the sign of war and blockages with Neptune in water. So another second prediction is you're going to see this moon trigger China to step up to the plate and make some bold assertions to contain or remediate the situation in the Middle East with the war with Iran. Now, that's what I've got for you in the world astrology. Wasn't too bad, was it? Nobody going to all unsubscribe and complain that I should just stick to personal astrology. Well, I can do that because I do that, right? I do that for you. But you can also just jump ahead to your sign and skip the world astrology. I mean, I don't know why there's such a big deal for you guys that it has to be that I have to drop world astrology for you to actually not unsubscribe. I had a huge number of unsubscribes in the April video because I spent a half an hour talking about world astrology. Turns out I was right, but you didn't want to hear it. So see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Okay, going ahead, let's do your sign. We're going to talk about how you can harness a fulfillment moon. Don't forget, you can remember the dates I gave you. It's going to drop you back all the way to these themes of your life, your reality in November of 24, August of 25. And it's also going to have a bit of a seed in December 19th of 2025. Those are areas of life that you want to connect the dots as this big fulfillment, fullness, full light, revelation moon is shining in the sign of Scorpio. I'm actually a Aquarius rising, born in 1962, and I have my Neptune at 12 degrees of Scorpio in my 10th house. And shout out to all of us 1962 gals and guys, because if you were born anytime in 62, you've got Neptune around the 10th to 15th degree max of the sign of Scorpio, and you're really feeling this lunation connect to your Neptune as well. Let's go. Let's start with Aries sun, moon, and rising. Your sun sign is your core self, your essential nature, your career. Your moon is your feeling, thinking about life, your home and your nest. Your rising sign is your simulation avatar, inhabited by your sun. The game player is the sun. The simulation avatar is a rising sign, how you look, how you feel, your character in the simulation. It's what it is. Don't know how to cast your chart in whole sign houses? Check below. My free video tutorial teaches you how to do that. It also allows you to find your ascendant as long as you have a birth time. Speaking of which, are you jewelry lovers like me? These beautiful bobbly jewels are from Otter Spirit. I'm totally in love with them, and they let me pick my own colors, and then I found out what they meant later. I've got a code for like 30% off for you guys in my description box. Go ahead and order some jewelry. These are grade A, triple grade A. I got pyrite, which is amazing. Success flows effortlessly. Thank you. Aquatic agate. Help me, everybody. I connect with my inner peace. Tell me I need that these days. Tiger eye. I am a warrior. These are astrologically sophisticated jewelry stones. They actually align with your sign. You want to go for Tiger Eye, you can get your solar plexus root chakra going. Good for Leo, Cap, and Gemini, Scorpio, and on. The website link is below. You can scroll for astrologically sensitive stones to wear. And I am always wearing my jewelry. It's funny, I love pyrite. I grew up in Northern Ontario, Canada, in a gold mining town, and we could just go out and like look through the rubble and the forest and the woods, and we find a ton of pyrite. Right? Pyrite is fool's gold. Wherever there's fool's gold, there might be real gold. All right. Woo! Let's go ahead. Talk sun, moon, and rising as we talk about the lunation. This video is dropping on a Monday. It's my week ahead astrology. Yeah, this is the most important thing this week. All right. So it's still week ahead. And if you are a fan of world or personal astrology, and if all the work I do to put stuff out for you guys matters and you're not subscribed, but you listen regularly, the smallest thing you can do, like a tip in the tip jar, is to consider subscribing. And if you're a regular viewer already, thank you so much for being here. I am so appreciative of all of you who support me to make this content for you, and enjoy the next 45 minutes to an hour as I talk about how we can use this moon for each separate sign. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is the beginning of a cycle. Look at how busy we all are with our Aries placements. My sun is here, Stellium City. But we are looking at the fulfillment or completion of a cycle of lunations. Particularly, you can go to the seed of the lunation on November 19th at 28 degrees of Scorpio. Or you can also track yourself back to August 1st of a first quarter moon at the same degree of Scorpio, or you can go back of last year, or you can go to as far back as November 1st of 2024. And I want you to try to piece together November of 24, August 1st of 25. Okay. And even the 19th of December. Did I say November, December? No, November 19th of 2025. Tie all those bits and pieces together in a pretty package and ask what's coming to fulfillment. Aries, what's coming to fulfillment in your story now matters tremendously, because your Scorpio sky is very much about things that are hidden from view. When a moon in the 8th house reveals something that's hidden from view in a house of things that are hidden from view from your vantage point, it's going to feel extraordinarily revealing. Now, that said, the other element for you with this Scorpio moon in your 8th house may be revealing regarding wealth. It's not the earned income, nor is it money that is all yours alone. This money here can be your partner's money in business or love, money connected to your in-laws, money, fulfillment, light shining brightly, uncovering, revealing, connected to things like investments or banking or mortgages or taxes. But it's a fulfillment moon, and it's got a lot of layers to it. If you're an occultist, meaning that you have, psychic abilities, I talk to dead people, all that stuff, it's going to bring a big, powerful spotlight to your abilities there and to what it is you want to do with your non-ordinary superpowers. We'll keep Juno in there. And so this is a light to show you something there, to reveal it to you. So I've been having more psychic or prophetic dreams lately. So example, my Aries sun and moon may highlight something important for me to notice or see more clearly. The moon itself, if you wanted to go back all the way to the seed moon, the true seed moon and lunar shadows, will take you back to November of 24. And I want you to think of matters to do with money that's not all yours. I mean, again, spousal shared resources, in-laws, tax monies from investments, money that you have for shared income, like shareholders, or even Google AdSense. You share the Google ad revenue with Google. Those are shared resource money. So those or royalty income, those monies are highlighted in the fulfillment, completion, and light of the lunation here. It's not too bad to see Jupiter broadly trining the moon, right? So we can get some support for some positive developments financially, Aries sun, moon, and rising, probably connected to money coming from ancestral line, legacy wealth, property, land, real estate, buy, sell, purchase. This is also a moon that could open up some family secrets, particularly secrets that come from mom and dad and growing up, things you didn't know about your life. And I mean, you might have been trying to figure some of this stuff up November of 24 or August of 25 or November of 2025. Those are all interconnected lunations. And if that's true, now you're really prying open the can of worms all the way. Sometimes just Jupiter exalted fourth house can be a sign that you're coming into or may come into some inheritance stuff. And so if there's something around themes of legacy, wealth, and inheritance that's coming your way and you know it, it doesn't have to be your family. Under this sky, it can be your partner's family as well, your husband or wife's family dispensing money through that family line to your partner, and that money will then benefit you tremendously as well. You'll notice this could happen anytime 2 weeks within the moon, be after the moon, but also kind of unfolds over 6 whole months. The moon also could lead to a breaking or a fracturing or a separating from a particular business partnership or career partnership agreements, Juno in the house of career gains, or a fracture or end of a friendship. Now, I don't want to worry any Aries, but this could be an actual sign that there could be the loss of a friend, that somebody in your social group setting or friendship groups is getting ready to maybe kick the bucket, so to speak, based on a lot of the symbols in the sky here. But life is life and people do not all live forever. So around the time of the moon, news or discovery that could be true may be coming your way. All said and done, reveal what is hidden. It will happen anyway regarding your money, regarding your family secrets from childhood, regarding matters to do with your spouse and their money and your money together, if you have a spouse, and maybe regarding matters to do with even secrets from friends. You find out someone in your social group or friendship circles has got some deep, dark secret that you didn't know about, especially with a square for Mercury. And there's like a lot of disclosure going on in those friendships. And this moon can be very much about digging out the dirt of the secrets that have been held from you by friends as well as family members growing up. All right, that's what I have for you, Aries. I know it's a spooky moon. It feels so spooky, but it's what it is, right? It's the kind of lunation. You got to put your eyeballs on it and make sense of it. Aries, I have to insert for you something I forgot to include. So let's do insertion time. And the finger of God for you, Aries, can't be ignored. You are best and always best, first and always first. Like, well, let's go with that. There is a finger of God embedded within this lunation as well. And that means that Venus in your third house of writing, teaching, marketing, selling, and communicating. Did I forget anything? Local neighbors, short distance travel, and siblings is flowing to Saturn in your sign. You are serious, sober-minded, realistic, and heavy-hearted at times, maybe even anxious, because Saturn here can bring that to us. I have a sun here. And we can feel this energy, though, being propelled into the 8th house of chunky money as the arrow point with the sun in the second. Major decisions and turning points are coming off this moon. They are going to propel you to take aim on the financial front. It could involve the decisions you're going to make or the actions you're going to take that are very realistic about what you can achieve financially. And it may be connected to investments, inheritance money, tax structures, but also to what Venus is trying to accomplish. In her sextile to Saturn, she's asking for sustainable financial resources. She rules your second house, connected to the way you communicate, write, market, sell, and teach, and you engage in your social media realm. Because this moon is anchored or triggered by a sun in its, middle point of Taurus, the sun is the ruler of your 5th house. There's kind of a go big or go home only if you love what you're doing. Are you using your natural gifts and talents? Are you enthusiastic, inspired, driven by the muse? Do you feel that anticipation, joy, and excitement for the work you're doing? The way you make money needs to have that divine spark, that follow your bliss. There's a reorientation lunation here. It's even possible some of you may pull back on the earnings and money and live off savings or investments or retirement funds over the next 6 months in a way you didn't plan or expect right away in order to secure the creative muse the fire and passion for what you teach or write or communicate or divine or scribe for the world. And there can be pivots in this story as well, strongly connected to matters of your children or your siblings involved in your decision-making process. So that's that finger of God. It's rare. It's pointing here. It's got a midpoint trigger in the house of your voice, vocation, and calling, and the way in which you earn money. So, and God squaring this part of the chart, you're making significant changes in how you make money coming off this moon in the next 6 months. Go back, as I said, to the lunar shadows pivot points, November 24, August of 25. I talked about me from Aquarius rising perspective later on, but I almost quit my channel in November of 24 and in August of 25. Both times I almost quit my channel. I kept coming into pivot points about content creation, burnout, and other factors. So if you want to go back and compare those factors, especially because Saturn is the ruler of your 10th house, it's going to bring you right back to considerations of what you really want in your career. All right, I'm pasting this in because I forgot to add it to your sign. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. This moon is full. This moon is bright. This moon is big in your 7th house. It's opening up a flashlight in your marriage and long-term love stories, business partnerships, deals, and legal contracts. Now, it doesn't have to be just about disclosure or revelation. It can be about completion and fulfillment. So you think about the idea. I'm going to give you some keywords like business partner deals and agreements, spousal situations, and long-term relationship stories, matters connected to your audience, marketplace, customers, and clients, should you have those types of folks in your life. Now, with the moon here, if you want to track back in time to do a little pattern recognition and cycle repetition, I would ask you to go back to the November 1st of 2024, 9 degrees Scorpio new moon. Then I want you to track ahead to August 1st on the first quarter moon in Scorpio of 2025. I want you to go back to November 19th of 2025 when we had a new moon at 28 Scorpio, still a part of the cycle, not as tight as the others. And now here you are full circle. This moon is really more tightly connected to what was seated very directly at this degree in November of 24. So fulfillments and completions in this cycle can be the actualization of a goal, right, that is embedded within the marriage or relationship. Because Jupiter rules that moon, it may be like legal marriage, weddings, proposals, especially with the wedding goddess in the 10th house, critical turning points in long-term love relationships about should you create a legal agreement, a wedding plan, a proposal to get married. Or if this is not about those stories and it's more business related, which it could be, then business partnership energy wants to activate from backroom deals to negotiations and people who in far off lands and places. The moon is ruled by Jupiter, by Mars in the house of foreign lands and distant shores. Now it can be like LA to New York, or it can be another country, commercial business agreements and contracts that have been hard to pin down, finding themselves in a fulfillment mode. Now I'm going to be doing another catch-up video on this about the finger of God that's forming with this moon. And that video will be coming out after this one. I just want to keep it simple at this point and tell you there is just something trying to come off of this long cycle. Maybe it's a final actualization of a business deal or contract or partnership connected to career, connected to far off people and distant shores, and financial opportunity. Every finger of God is intense. It requires you to pay attention. Most likely you'll see a video drop. This is a Monday overview on the day of the moon, just really focusing on the finger of God. Or maybe I should put the finger of God in now. I'm pondering. I'll keep the finger of God here now. So I didn't do Aries. I'll have to insert a little extra for you, but let's talk finger of God too. It's almost like you've got a boomerang of something that needs to happen here. Like you got to pay attention, right, to whatever this 9 degrees, 8 degrees, 9 degrees is. And so for all signs, let's just not forget the finger of God. So there's like a mission possible connected to money, far off lands, distant shores, a boomerang, God, finger of God, the sun's involved, could change your home. Some of you may have career opportunities that could indicate a relocation. It's not the easiest thing. It feels like you're trying to hit a bullseye in the dark, but if you're going to go for it, it could be quite successful for you financially in surprising and exciting ways. So in other words, look to also the same themes that I'm talking about happening vis-a-vis your partner in your long-term love stories, where they could have a sudden job opportunity, career pivot. And for both of you, it could be exciting, but it may have elements of more money, but are we having to relocate our place of residence to some other shore or distant place? So that's true as well. All said and done. And I will insert a little bit of the finger of God for the Aries. I had that on my notes to do, but I didn't remember it. I like this energy for you in terms of capitalizing on a new career pivot, but you're going to have to see how it should line up to seeds that were planted in November of 24 and certainly August of 2025. And finally, there's a chance to sort of seize the day, so to speak, and make a move on this story. Also just as good for getting married and getting set up for a wedding. But I'm telling you, if you're going to do a wedding off of this, I think you're going to do like a beachside destination or a volcanic landscape like Hawaii. If you're planning a wedding off of this moon, finally getting it down, I don't think it's going to be a local or in your hometown vibe. You want to get the wedding done offside of everything else. This could even be a decision to go elope instead of having a big marriage ceremony. It will increase your money, though, if you're able to harness this shoot in the dark energy. Finger of Gods require a sacrifice. You got to give something up to get it, right? Maybe you have to move away from where your children live. Mercury's involved. Maybe you're not comfortable. You're a fixed sign moving to a different city, town, or country. It can all make you quite uneasy. So I'm going to give you those clues here. These are some things that you have to consider. All right, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, a powerful finger of God. Lunation is kicking off a very intense energy. It's a full light in the Scorpio sign of sixth house sign, whole sign house. It could illuminate some matters to do with your work or your health, pets and rental properties and debts. Because you've been through this on a long lunar shadows category of starting this ball rolling in November of 2024, then taking the ball further down the court, so to speak, or the soccer field on August 1st of 25, and even maybe finding some connections to things that were going on in December of 25. Those cycles introduced at the beginning are important because now this is really a fulfillment, completion, particularly from the fall of 24, November of 2024. The way the moon can operate when it's in the sixth house is like a big flashlight revealing to you in your visible eyeballs what it is you want to accomplish with a flow in your work, for example, or health routines. But with a flow from Jupiter exalted in the second house, you're going to look at ways to make more money and to be more financially prosperous. But at the very same time, with the ruler being Mars, you're also making some significant changes in your long-range goals and plans and dreams for your career, for your life. And also you might be executing significant changes in the way in which you earn the money. The moon also flows to the north node. So you want to increase your career success. You want to increase your money, but you have a light shining here to consider what needs to change. Employees belong to the sixth house. Work and work routines belong there. Pets and rentals belong there as well. Now I have a progressed Gemini sun, and to give you an example, okay, why not, right? When the seed was planted in November of 24, right, there was a planting of a seed. And this is a house of rentals. I was securely, happily renting a place that I love. But by the spring, February, so within 6 months, my landlord was making noises. She wanted to get ready February, March to sell the property. And indeed, by the time we got 6 months out, the house was on a listing to be sold. All right. So you can see the seed was planted for a change of home on a new moon in the house of rentals for someone like me. And when we got to August of 2025, I had moved into this new place in the middle of July. And here I am, right? Now we have a full moon in the house of rentals on May 1st, and I'm moving at the end of May to a new rental. for June 1st. So you see how it's really a story that makes sense and actually works. In December's new moon, for example, on the 19th of December, I was like, I got to move out of here. Too much noise, too many sirens, too much of this and that. So there's a lot of layers to this. Well, one thing about the new moon fulfillment here, full moon, I mean, is it is a house of pets, and it activates the sun in the house of larger animals, and it connects to the south node in the fourth house. So this is a very strong lunation for getting an animal. Okay. How would you get the animal? Could be a rescue animal. You're activating rescue charity energies. It could be an animal from a distant land and shore, you know, an imported animal from another country. And you could also get an animal from your SPCA here. Like, again, it's kind of the idea of you know, doing charitable things for animals, fulfilling a desire for a pet. And the south node is ruled by Mercury. And so that, you know, and the moon is ruled by Mars, who are together in your 11th house of long range goals, wishes, and dreams. Well, for example, I've been wanting a pet for 3 or 4 years now, but my current rental properties didn't allow for it. My new one will. So you see how it works. Look at what you've been trying to create here. Fulfill a dream or a goal, a professional dream or a goal, a pet dream or goal. And now you can make a fulfillment and a completion of that dream and make it happen, make it real, make it, you know, stick the landing. You are the Venus Uranus original, positive, beautiful energy. And you've got the sextile. I have a progression of my sun. That's why I talked about me. And you have the sextile to Saturn. This is called a finger of God, right? Pointing at the moon, boomeranging with the sun. Here's what I want to tell you. And the sun is the ruler of your third house. Neighbors, neighborhood, short distance travel, writing, communicating, marketing, selling, teaching, divining, and scrying. So there's some big changes going on with all of those things connected to your work, connected to pivotal intrinsic turning points that align you with a sense of meaning and purpose in life. This moon is going to sort of pivot you in some way towards a more aligned destiny. Like, I want to be on purpose. This is a moon that can also, because of the activation of Juno in the 9th house, and has to do with, you know, the whole Gemini vibe, and Mercury and Saturn, book publishing, writing, communicating, deals, contracts, and agreements within the 6 months that falls out of this full moon. Only problem with the finger of God is it's often difficult to activate because it feels like you're trying to take aim in the dark, and it's awkward, and it's not, you know, you can't get your bow and arrow and your arm all together in the right angle. But it is still a good thing, and it does require a sacrifice. You can all have to give something up to get something here, but whatever it is, it might require a lot of alone time. And that's the sun in the 12th house in order to achieve the results you want from this finger of God connected to one's work and service in the world. Okay, I think I covered everything you need: pets, rentals, work, service, etc. Definitely says Jupiter, more money and more worldly success in your career, says the North Node. So don't be afraid of the full moon in Scorpio. I mentioned health briefly, urogenital health, right? Things to do with your down there nether regions can be very scorpionic, your sex organs, and a big light is shining here. But with a trine from Jupiter, especially in the house of what you eat, it does bode well for resolutions of those problems if you have them. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. If I'm talking fast, we are time-stamped, and you can always slow the video down. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign, big full light, big shining bright in your 5th house. While it comes off of another story, I'll remind you of the dates, but love, romance, fertility, children, art, creative, and entrepreneurial energy. You started that picking steam up with that on the lunar shadows, November of 24, November 1st. Add a couple of weeks. What were you up to there with all of the themes I just mentioned? And then again on August the 1st, first quarter moon happened here, and you were still pivoting into what this 5th house themes are about. And here we have sort of a grand finale. Now, the grand finale is connected to the full moon, and of course, and there's a completion, ending, and fulfillment regarding your relationship to fertility, love, sex, pregnancy, romance, matters connected to art, creativity, the muse, of course, and in entrepreneurial businesses. Because this moon is going to flow to the North Node and, of course, in general ways to Jupiter, it's going to be very satisfying, optimistic, hopeful for you. It can increase your worldly success and alignment with deep meaning and purpose. It's good for publishing, book publishing, and being in executive assistant roles in any kind of work. Secondarily, we also have to consider the full moon that is occurring here. It's also connected to a finger of God with Venus, Saturn, and the moon, and a boomerang spot of the sun. What does that bring you? It brings you a kind of awkward bow and arrow that you're trying to hit a target, which is your fifth house, and it will require intense sacrifice or discipline to get this to work. But if you're willing to give it a chance and see what happens, then quite conceivably what you get from this is a stable, enduring, longer lasting success in your career, especially if you work behind the scenes of the public, or you are somebody who's operating in hospitals, jails, or with Venus here, with international revenue and borderless income, the online world, especially given the moon sextiles, the relative world of the South Node in your social media, online, websites, and World Wide Web's third house. Okay. If you're somebody here who is looking to take aim for enthusiastic enjoyment of your work, wanting to experience more pleasure and joy in your work, then possibly this is going to help you take aim and pivot to bring those things into truth. But with Saturn, you only have to be a little bit careful that you don't overwork. He's debilitated in the work house. And so you're striving for enjoying your work, Saturn sextile Venus, in a paced and measured way. And you're going to put the pegs in place to make that happen. If you don't work, what are you doing in the public eye as a retiree that people see you do? And how do you want that to bring creativity, joy, and expression to you? If you're single looking for romance, a full moon can bring you romantic love. But if you're going to get a romantic love story, it may be dealing with someone from a far off land or a foreign distant shore, or somebody you're going to connect to in social group settings or career facing matters. In your professional activities, or through social groups and friends, a full moon like this could finger guide you into a new relationship, and maybe with someone in a foreign land for sure, given the trine to North Node. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. Please don't forget to go back and watch the intro of this video about world astrology, but also the Lunar Shadows tool. But I will give it to you in a nutshell. I want you to peg back to November 1st of 24, add a couple of weeks, August 1st of 25, add a couple of weeks, and specifically this moon. Those are intersecting dots on the game board of life that have meaning to everything we're seeing. So there's a grand fulfillment or a grand completion of what you started in the fall of 24. This is the fourth house. This is your home. It could be like, it's a Mars ruled lunation. Were you renovating the home, doing construction in the home? Were you digging up childhood secrets? This is the home of your childhood. The moons are revealing what was hidden. You may have been on a big excavation of your ancestral line or family history as well, doing like genetic research or ancestry.com or, that stuff. But the full moon here also is indicating something that wants to come to fulfillment. And you go back to the dates I gave you, especially the fall of 24, November, for the seeds that you were planting, because now you can complete them, fulfill them. And this moon is also connected to a Jupiterian flow, so it could really increase your wealth and prosperity from distant shore lands, people, places, and things, connected to things you're doing in and from your home professionally. At the same time, with a square to Juno Pluto, watch for this moon causing fractures in an existing long-term love story. This is where you and your partner are going to have disagreements at the very least, and worst case scenarios, catastrophic disengagement from the relationship. So it's a warning bell for you. If it's not the right relationship anyway, it won't last. I did hear my phone ding. I'll turn it off shortly. If you are somebody who is up for the finger of God, I want you to think of an arrowhead doing this. And it's asking you to take aim in an awkward way at what you want to really hit the mark at in your home life. And it can involve property, land, buying, selling, and purchasing, especially with the North Node in the house of financing and banking. Are you wanting to sell a home or buy a home? The moon begins to show you the way. This could also open up legacy wealth or inheritances from mom and dad. But that aside, this is also Saturn in the house of father figures who are elder Saturn. An inheritance is from a father figure that allows you to transition to a new home or property, but maybe also Venus. She's like friends in high places who wish to help you, or a sibling one older, executing some powerful maneuvers on your behalf to allow for your fulfillment of a life path, steadfast alignment to purpose. Because the sun is in the boomerang spot and is a ruler of you, it's asking you to hit the mark in your career. It could be based on your ancestral family stories, especially your mother, because if you haven't healed your mother wound, this is a moon in Scorpio, a moon that is in the sign of fall, in the house of the mother, in my tradition. So are you at all considering that this could also be a major pivot towards career success and alignment, because you finally clear out some ancestral, matrilineal, and specifically mother wounds, because it's going to pivot you into something that really works for you financially. But you'll probably also be looking at how its financial pivots connected to clearing the ancestral childhood stuff, or what you do in and from the home, with an offset chance it could be an inheritance as well. We are just going to take that sound and make it go away. Ouch, I just stubbed my toe on my stool. All right, let's keep going and talk about the Virgo folk. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. The story for you is a clear bell ringing in the air that you have to fulfill, complete, and light up your third house to see something there that you want to accomplish. And you started to think about your writing, marketing, teaching, selling, traveling, siblings, neighbors, neighborhood, ideas, website, social media house. You started thinking about that place or figuring out something on the Lunar Shadows tool. November of 24, you readdressed it in August of 25, and here you are in readiness for completion. Tricky one it is, because although Jupiter flows to this moon from your 11th house of pennies from heaven, windfalls, and great gains from your career, and friends in high places supporting you to succeed in life, which is positive, this moon is also ruled by Mars in your 8th house of chunky money. Now, there's an upside and a downside to this whole story. If you are psychic and you want to be a fortune teller, read tarot cards, talk to the dad or something, good for you. The moon and her joy in the house of that god, house of the goddess, where we find our everyday fortune teller. So with this being ruled by Mars now in your 8th house, if you've always wanted to go into the counseling of others with your intuition type of career path, this will begin to open doors in the next 6 months. Now, that may not be a goal of yours at all and never was, but if it that's great. The moon's in her joy, although she's fallen. She's still in a powerful house. The energy is opening up something in your relationship to a long-term love partner in a positive way. With the trine to Jupiter, it could be wedding bells, legal marriage contracts, moving in together, or buying a home. All Virgos will be under that spell over the next 6 months from this moon. If there's any chance that the marriage is not good and you've been ready to get out for a long time, which is possible too under the sky, then the good news is it's going to benefit you financially, and it may rehome you in a positive way. There is a finger of God involved in this moon, and it's called a boomerang finger of God. Venus at 9, Sun at 11, Saturn at 9. It's all pointing at this. It makes an arrowhead with a kind of archer's bow element here on the boomerang. What do you do with this? Draw back the bowstring and try to take aim so that you can be deeply aligned with your purpose and calling, Sun in the 9th house. While at the same time, extracting visible career success that's exhilarating and being able to draw on 8th house monies. Now, 8th house monies are funny. It could be your spousal shared resources, and you want to do that in a sustainable and measured way. But it also can be inheritance money. And it also can be money from book royalty income or derivative income like Google AdSense, or investment income like dividends. But you might be able to pull money off of something to do with family of origin, legacy wealth off of this, given Jupiter's alignment with the moon. All said and done, the moon is ruled by Mars with that Saturn finger of God in that house of chunky money. And Mercury says, open up your mind to what? To possibilities of money coming to you in ways that aren't always just the paycheck in your job. Yeah, you could also use this kind of moon or suspect that it could bring you money because your significant long-term love relationship partner gets money for their family of origin. In other words, someone in their family passes away and passes money on, and you get to benefit from that as well. In other words, if your partner gets rich, you get rich too. Or maybe the last thing I want to say about this, there's a possibility some of you may want to make a significant change of career. I said psychic abilities and all that stuff, etc. See the mini grand trine here, but it doesn't have to just be that. You want to go into a new career path that brings you authentic pleasure and enjoyment. And the moon may help you pivot to that. Do you want to teach, write, communicate? Do you want a career in travel? These are kinds of themes that are playing out. The square to Jupiter, the square of this lunation to Pluto and Juno may be something to do with contracts and agreements and difficulty in your current work situation and a breaking and a fracture of those agreements. In other words, leaving your job. And if that's the case, then everything in the sky suggests something better is going to show up. And if you get fired or laid off, which I don't think is necessarily true, you might get a nice severance package or sign-off bonus or some kind of unemployment benefits that are going to give you more spaciousness in order to figure out where you want to go next. There's only one last thing. If you're of childbearing age, watch out for unexpected pregnancy in the 6 months that follows this moon. And I'm not going to go into explaining all the reasons why, but it does connect to Saturn, Venus, and Uranus and your fifth house. Or if you're too old to have children, then unexpected grandchildren showing up. One of your kids is unexpectedly pregnant. Hey, Libra, sun, moon, and rising. I kind of want to talk about the moon from the finger of God perspective as well as everything else. First thing you got to notice is the full moon in your second house of earnings, work, resources, money that you make, your pocketbook and wallet, shining a big bright light here. Notice that we do lunar shadows today. We want to talk about November the 1st of 24 and then August the 1st of 2025. Those dates add a couple of weeks after each one should indicate pivots in the financial situation in your life. It could be new jobs coming your way, jobs completing, jobs stretching into something new. It could be work related. But because of Jupiter's placement here, and he was here, by the way, August 1st of last year. He is in your 10th house now. It indicates an escalation or increase, as well as changes in job and money making and success, especially August 1st of 25, especially now. You're climbing up to greater levels of financial increase. However, the moon is in her fall, so it could be at what's expense is it? Are you working too hard for the money, for example? What has got to give here? And the moon's going to light it up so you know what needs to go, what needs to stay. Also, a beautiful moon sextiling the South Node to let go of food styles, addictions, and bad habits and clobber them over the head and let them go once and for all. Because Mars rules the moon from the 7th house, Mars is kind of like, okay, and can we translate some changes in your relationship to long-term significant other, business partners, and audience members in how you interact with your money? Right? There's changes there too, even to the point where with the sun in a boomerang yod, your significant other may come into family inheritance money that's going to benefit you and allow you to lighten up your load. Should you be married to somebody, this moon could trigger that. More importantly, go back to November of 24. What money-making seeds were enacted in new beginnings that reached a first quarter phase in August of 25, and now something's got to complete and or fulfill in the money-making career direction. It could even be that in November 24, you started a new job in book publishing, foreign lands, foreign shores, or with a foreign company, because Jupiter would have been activating your 9th house. And now you want to do something different. It's time to change direction. The finger of God is going to be this. Okay. Oh, Venus, Saturn, Sun in the boomerang. Sun is the owner of great gains from your career, hopes, wishes, and dreams fulfilled. awards, rewards, and great grand success from the gains of your career in the chunky money house. So you're aiming for that. You want to pull the drawstring back by seeing more financial success, more actualization of goals and dreams, but it's definitely connected to how you make money. And there's going to be some pivots in how you make money. You may fracture an agreement with a contractor. If you're a consultant and you don't have a company and you're independent, you may decide to cut away from or break certain consulting agreements and quit or leave them behind. And the moon does square Juno and Pluto in the 5th house. So contractual agreements regarding art, creativity, and entrepreneurial business, and fracture, break, and end are themes that may come up for you as this moon progresses. Yes, you could get into a business partnership entrepreneurially with somebody wealthy and powerful from a foreign land and distant shore as well, especially around art, creative projects, book publishing deals, contracts. And this could open up the fulfillment of that. I'm always going to stay with the same story. Be careful for burnout. Mars is conjunct Saturn ruling the moon. This is where you're doing great, but you might be getting overwhelmed by the pace or tired of the work or drained and exhausted by the momentum. Okay, so that's what I've got for you. And let's see how it goes. I'm looking forward to hearing in the comments what this was like for you guys. Because, 2 weeks after the moon, you'll be able to tell the tale and share the details with me. So what about you, Scorpio, says your moon? You are the king and the queen of this moon. And I'm excited for you because we're addressing the big picture story with the Lunar Shadows tool. So for you as a Scorpio being, sun and moon and rising, sun, career, moon, home and nest and emotions, and rising, your character in the simulation. If you go back to November 1st of 2024 and then add a couple of weeks and try to remember what happened, go look at your emails or photos. And then you go to August 1st of 2025, first quarter moon of Scorpio, same degree. What was happening then? Because now you've got the big fulfillment moon, the completion moon, the big one, okay? And it's yours, right? It's your Scorpio sun, career, moon, home life, and Scorpio rising, your character in the simulation. So what could this be about? Well, first of all, because this full moon lunation is being flowed or trined broadly by Jupiter in your 9th house, for some of you, this particular round could feel very much like financial opportunity is coming your way from father figures, from people in positions of authority, or connected to international people, places, and things. At the same time, because we have the moon trining the North Node in the house of children, pregnancy, and fertility, and Jupiter represents childbirth in the 9th house of childbirth and children, this can be the fulfillment of a desire for you to have children. And if I use my Scorpio rising sun as an example, he and his wife in November 24 started talking about having a baby. By the time we got to August 1st of 24, add 2 weeks, they were talking about when to start trying specifically. They got pregnant in October on the first try. And now they're fulfilling that because they're going to have a child this August. So this moon in May will just be the next step in the process of making children happen. So it's just very literal, right? Just very literal. All the things I said about the dates can apply to like entrepreneurial, creative, artistic projects, publications and book publishing endeavors, matters to do with international destinations and travel. So there's other themes that go with this. Like I use the fertility example. A single Scorpio is looking for love, especially with the North Node, especially in August of 2025, may have begun to gear themselves towards finding love in all the right places. And this could fulfill your desire for long-term love. With the sun at pivot, middle spot of a bow and arrow energy, we have Venus at 9, sun at 11, and we have Saturn at 9, and we will have the moon at 11. That makes a finger of God happen here. The energy can be an awkward but possible way to hit the bullseye in job, work, money, shared resources, marriage. So houses 6, pets, rentals, property, shared resources, job, work situation. significant relationship, business, and love partners, and Venus, money goddess, in a money house. So you are kind of at the epicenter of a desire for money, partnership, and business and love, and job, career, and work, like, the work itself. Because the sun at the epicenter of the pullback of the boomerang drawstring here is a ruler of your 10th house of reputation and career. It definitely can look like new opportunities that want to emerge that are going to be good for you in your career path. But because Mars is with Saturn, it can be also closing down, quitting, ending, or slowing down in some work endeavor and relying on money from the 8th house. Spousal support, government grants, inheritance money. And because we have Venus and Pluto in that trine, yes, it's possible that you're going to have some inheritance money showing up in your life off of this moon. That would come from father figures in your life that allow you to kick back a little bit and hustle less in reality and let go, release, and surrender a current source of job, earnings, and income. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. At a deeper level, when you're the epicenter of a rare finger of God, like a once in a lifetime vibe, then you are asked to really look at what it is you need to sacrifice. But because the sun is over here, it can be sort of like, as you look across the way at your customer, your client, your business partner, or your long-term love partner, and you ask your questions around what it is you both need, or it's, win-win for everybody, then some decisions that are happening here are based on what the other needs as well as what you desire, right? You're not thinking about just yourself here. So a small chance this will rehome you, and you may move to a different home within 6 months, and that would likely involve rental contract agreements. That's what I got. Although under the sky, you could also make a decision within the 6 months after the moon to sell your home and to exceedingly prosper, do better in the gain from the sale of a home than you thought you would get. The hell? What was going on there? Okay. Sorry, guys. Whew, it's hot in here. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, Wednesday, April 22nd. And I'm telling you guys, it's got to be like summer temperatures outside today. We are definitely, they say in a El Nino, and it's going to be a grand El Nino, meaning it's going to be very, 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 very hot this summer into the fall. Whew. Expect more turbulence, hurricanes, cyclones, the whole gamut. I need like a fan on me. This is why I'm moving. I have no air conditioning in this unit. Oh, I'm opening the doors and windows, but you're going to hear sirens like crazy. All right. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Welcome to the story of you. This is a moon that's going to be giving you a story of fulfillment or a completion or a big light in your 12th house. It's really good at Sagittarius if you're dealing with your spiritual, God, truth, spiritual awakening, liberation energies. And if that's up your alleyway, then this is a moon that fulfills some of those, the quest for divine revelation. But otherwise, the moon here could also be a fulfillment of things that are to do with like spotlight on your addictions and bad habits, spotlight on your people in far off lands and distant shores, spotlight on wanting to be alone and solitude and ashrams and distance from other people. Now, this moon shining brightly here can also bring a female in your family system or someone you know into hospital settings, as all full moons can do that, in Scorpio in your 12th house. Or you can have revelations about past lives and understanding yourself more deeply, especially childhood, ancestral, and past life content, being more cognitively aware of those patterns in your life. That said, let's go ahead and talk about the other stories. On the Lunar Shadows tool that I talked about in the start of the video, please go watch it. November the 1st of 24, August the 1st of 2025 are pegs on the journey to here and now. You might notice that in those November and August timeframes, add a couple of weeks after each moon, that you probably are on one theme in 3 parts. For example, your mother had a health challenge in November 24, everything got better, then there was a downturn or a twist in the tail in August of 25, and now your mother's sick in the hospital again. I mean, just making up a story, but they may have connections, right? You wanted to go alone to a distant shore and far off land in November 24, then in August of 25, you managed to pull it off, and here you go again. I have a Sag friend who did a pilgrimage to India in 2025, I think it was August. So there's, I'm off the ashram, I'm doing a pilgrimage, I'm finding my way. Because this moon is getting flow from Lord Jupiter, it can increase your wealth from inheritances and spousal support of divorces and agreements. And it can also increase your success and worldly success with property, home, land, and real estate buy-sell deals. And may involve people from foreign lands. You might want to move your home, buy your home, sell a home, move to a distant shore, other side of your country, another country, the buyers from another country, and on we go. The moon also, though, is embedded in a couple of other stories, and one is that finger of God. Now, this moon is ruled by Mars in the 5th house. This is your children. This is your romantic dating life. This is your entrepreneurial and creative projects. Mars is in dignity. He rules the moon in his kingdom. Possibly there can be some turning points to heal chironic wounds around sex, love, romance, or children and fertility. Why not? But at the same time, there's a finger of God that makes this moon even better and more interesting. Venus, okay, connected to Saturn pointing at the moon, is going to make an arrowhead, and it's going to have a trigger point of the sun in your 6th house. Major life turning points around addiction, self-undoing, bad patterns and habits connected to dietary styles and what you eat and put in your nose and mouth. Major turning points connected to long-term committed love, sex, and romance. Something wants to happen that could bring you into a committed love story that's enduring and sustainable and lasting. The person may be significantly younger or older than you. This is also a boomerang finger of God that connects to the sun, who rules the house of courts, judges, distant lands and shores. When it comes to love and romance, I'd certainly say international travel and distant shores could bring you into a new relationship. If you're in a relationship already, then you're going to increase the connection between you and the other, but it also could end up looking like changes in your home. If you're in a relationship, like moving in the next 6 months, if you're in a relationship that's been stressed out and it's not really jiving for you and you're not sure what to do about this, then this could be the beginning, with the sun ruling the house of courts and judges and Jupiter in the house of shared resources, of separating your assets out and beginning to go for legal agreements and, separation agreements and lawyers and judges. If that's going down for you, and for some of you it could, right? You're ending a karmic contract with somebody based on the 6th house, 12th house axis. And it doesn't matter so much about the deets of the money and who gets what, as getting out from underneath the karmic contractual baggage that relationship represents. So it's okay to let it go. And you should do okay under the sky, is my view of it. Lastly, in a long-term marriage partnership that you're happy with, money coming from your in-laws, from your spouse's side of the family, could lead to an increase of home, a bigger home, a change of home, a new home, or a move of home. And the moon is activating a change of home connected to a distant shore or far-off place from where you currently live, like the other side of the country you currently live in, or even another country. So that's what we've got for you. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the next sign. Hey, Capricorn, what a moon we have. It's so twisty and turny. Hope you listened to the World Astrology intro. You might find yourself taking advantage of the information in the beginning, but let's try to repeat the story here. November the 1st, 2024, and August the 1st, 2025 are connected to what's happening in this moon of May the 1st. So if you took November 1st of 24 and August 1st of 25 and added 2 weeks and could remember your past, then you're going to notice that those are internet-connected way stations on the journey to now. The moon is full in your 11th house of friendship groups and circles, long-range goals, plans, and dreams, sibling one older, earnings and money from your career, including not royalties, like rewards, perks, performance review successes, celebrity influence, more money, like greater gains and perks of your career, if you have one. And it's a house of good spirit, and it brings some windfalls and pennies from heaven when necessary. And so the full moon is lit here and it's shining brightly in your 11th house. And you could think to yourself about the 11th house themes interconnected to the past. However, this moon as well is getting a ton of love from Jupiter. It got the same kind of love in August, by the way, last year. And this is flowing from your house of significant committed love, a sibling 3 younger or 3 older, or business partnership deals and contracts. And the flow from Jupiter to the moon, which will be at 11 Scorpio, says, yes, perhaps you can get that contract signed, that marriage agreement done, the formulation of a long-range goal, dream, and desire regarding committed love. Maybe you could even get some kind of career perk or gain that requires you to travel to another city, another town, or another location, North Node in the 3rd house. If you work online, social media landscape can increase success, worldly success through business partnerships and alliance and greater gains in your career. Only problem is the moon has fallen in the 11th house and you may be getting all the perks you want in the career, but not the enjoyment or the emotional satisfaction. But we've got another thing to say about that, so hang in there. The moon is also squaring Pluto and Juno in the 2nd house. You might need to break an agreement or a contract or a vow that you verbally made with another person, and that's okay. If it happens, it happens, especially if that person is in a many ways it could be in a sibling setting, in a setting to do with your neighbors or your cousins, uncles, and aunts, or breaking an agreement connected to anything. Like I'm going to fracture my verbal agreement. I'm going to break an agreement I had. That's basically the vibe. This moon could have you do that. And it could also radically transform the way you make money and completely change your career path in some fundamental way. Not just a job change, but a complete professional new direction can emerge from this full moon. Venus is involved in a finger of God in a house of work and job and service, pets and rentals, and also matters to do with debts. Venus is connected to Saturn in the 4th house of property, land, and real estate. Mars is a ruler of the lunation, also in the house of property, land, and real estate. There is a sense of an arrow pointing to the 11th house of long-range goals, wishes, and dreams. Where have you yearned to live? What has been your vision or goal or dream for where you live? Mars says move, change, cut, end, and sever where you live. Saturn says find a place that's lasting and enduring, or Saturnian, which is rocky hillsides on mountaintops, and or remote and pioneering and far off. Aries. Mars could mean it's got some serious heat. Don't move to a war zone, though. So there's a call to move, but if you're going to move, 90% chance with Venus in the house of rental properties, it's not to purchase a new home. You could rent your current home out and gallivant and travel, but you could also move your home because you're going to rent a property. The boomerang finger of God has the sun at the center of the trigger point of the arrow to pull your drawstring back. And the sun is about your chunky money house too. So it is a house of good fortune and we can win money here. And Venus could give you money to repay or eliminate debts, or a debt that's owed to you is returned to you. And all of a sudden you're more flush with money. And that allows for you to make some decisions that are based on a deeper power of layer of what you really desire, connected to what will bring you enthusiasm, inspiration, and joy. And for some of you, it will be definitely about where you live. For some of you, it can bring you money, debt relief from unexpected directions. But you have to tune in to the 5th house because that's where the bow is being pulled back. Do you know what will bring you true enthusiasm and joy and inspiration? Do you have any clue what that might look like? Because you're going to need to be able to figure it out because you want to move in alignment with your dharmic purpose in life. That's what the sky's aiming you to do. And then express that into the realm of your long-range visible goals being actualized and your dreams showing up in the world. Venus rules your career house. She's in the job house. Okay. She's squaring Pluto, trining Pluto in the earnings house. And what decisions are you going to try to make off this moon to move towards earnings, money, and decisions around job and career and reputation that allow for you to prosper in brand new ways. And it's definitely brand new ways, okay? 100 Ways to Sunday. This is a very different sky than we've seen before. Okay, if you go back in the past, as I said, November of 24 and August of 25, those are the times where you had some pivots around these conundrums, right? Money, debts, job, home, where I want to live, moving, traveling, long-term love. With the moon in a square to Juno, well, the moon is also in a trine to Jupiter, you may make some verbal disagreements. Like you may say to somebody, like, okay, and instead of a verbal, a contract for a yes, it'd be a no. It'd be like, okay, we're going to have a conversation. This relationship has to end, or this relationship isn't a thing, or something like that. All right, let's continue on. Hopefully that will be useful to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, Aquarius, Aquas, I am one of you. This is recorded for you on April the 22nd. We're talking about a big full moon in Scorpio in your 10th house of career. Can be a completion and ending or fulfillment of something there. Yet at the same time, we planted seeds specifically in the career space on November the 1st of 24 and also on August 1st of 2025. To use me as an example, just because I can, and it's my channel, haha. You know, in November of 24, I had just incorporated that spring, thank God. And I was looking at making some major changes to my channel in terms of some of the type of output I was putting in there. But they were just content output changes, not a big deal. And, you know, when we moved into August of 2020, and I also experienced a shock then too, right? November 24, hundreds of you unsubscribed because I didn't call the election, right? It was really catastrophic for my channel. Although I did do a horary chart and get it right, but only shared it with my Patreon community. Should have shared it with you guys just before the election. But anyway, so I remember feeling, I wanted to share this with you guys if you're Aquarius rising. I remember feeling in November 24, maybe I'm going to quit my channel. I can't do this anymore. It's not worth the travail, right? Scorpio revealing something I couldn't see. That was the new moon back then. And then we move into, August of 2025. I almost had the same sentiments. I had one of the slowest months I've had in years that August on my channel subscriptions. And I was pretty down in the dumps. And I thought maybe I'm going to quit my job. It was a first quarter moon up there, but I also got on a couple of other people's channels and it boosted my channel and gave me hope to carry on. But I can see pivot points in the way I think about the career and whether I want to hold on to it. So I'm giving you an example. Here we have a full light to show us the full way forward, one way or another, right? One way or another. What else? Jupiter flows to this moon, offering supreme success in your work, connected to fulfillment in your career. Good things happening in 6th house. You could have great work routines, enjoy the work, great employees, more employees. Also, pets are there. Getting a pet can soothe your soul so you enjoy your career. Rental properties. I'm moving to a new rental, a bigger house, and that's going to allow me to be more comfortable in a dedicated office. So that's already baked into this chart. The flow from the North Node to the moon and Jupiter kind of vibes out with more money, more success, more increase of worldly gains. But the consideration is the moon has fallen. And this fallen moon can bring a kind of sense of, and so what? Right? And so what? Public attention, but and what? So what? Do I really care? Because I just want to be nested. The moon says I want to be nested in my Taurus exaltation, reading books in bed all day or something at the midnight hour. There's a push-pull here. So there's a catch-22 for all moons in Scorpio, and this is your career space. If you were to consider that the moon is squaring Juno and Pluto, this is what contracts you might have agreed to in the past that you're going to execute a change of direction in. And you could be making major changes of direction in areas to do with your job, your career, right? Or even in your long-term committed love stories and making some big changes in that area of your life off of this moon as you sort of agree to disagree and change trajectory, pivot and tact like a sailboat, in another direction. You're the one breaking and making the deals. Okay. You're in charge. You're in the main driver's seat on that one. And I said relationships and committed love because the sun reflected by the moon would be you announcing to the world that you're breaking up with your partner or something in business or love. Could also impact how you want to interact with employees. And if you have too many, you may have to let go of some, those kinds of things. Or you can make new deals with, business partners as well, new business partnership contracts and deals in the wake of this moon. The moon is connected to a finger of God, which is nice and rare. Venus, sextile Saturn, flows to the moon May 1st. No, just don't worry about it. Just trust me, it's up here at 11 degrees on May 1st. So this arrowhead that forms anchored by the sun, boomerang finger of God, this is like where you pull the trigger or pull back the drawstring. Where do you want to pull back the drawstring and trigger regarding home and work-life balance between what you do in the home that shows up in the visible world as it connects to creativity, art, enjoyment, enthusiasm, fun, play, and pleasure, as it connects to social media, writing, communicating, marketing, teaching, and selling endeavors. For some of you, there's no two ways about it. Because of Mars's co-presence here with Saturn ruling the moon, you're going to make some major decisions to change the way you operate, let's say in social media or through the writing and communicating narratives. This will propel some of you to make major decisions to write a book, right? And because of Mercury there, you'll get a contract for it. You don't have to self-publish. So if that's a part of your story, like it is for me, this is going to work. The sun is a ruler of the business partnership and marriage type house. That's a different story, but with Venus, Uranus here, you might fall madly in love with somebody, and it may make some changes in your existing long-term love relationships. You may be ready to, exit because there's something better coming. I want to say that, the Mars piece is intriguing because the moon ruled by Mars in the third house would indicate a change of neighborhood. And we already see that happening here with the Jupiter story. So I've already got mine in motion, but if you don't, and you were thinking of moving, this moon could trigger a change of location by city or neighborhood for a lot of you Aquarians. This is definitely going to indicate for a lot of you because of Uranus, Venus, especially next year, but it's here already, that this is like in the 2 weeks that follows this moon, there's a strong chance of finding a new relationship in your life. The sun rules commitment. And it's funny because the moon's relationship to all of that would make it a very public thing. And why would it be public? Maybe the person's very visible in the world. It's a famous person or a public figure, or maybe you meet them in a very career-oriented or public setting, especially connected to livelihood and work. But a single Aquarius may meet somebody May 2nd, add 2 weeks, and that could be very powerful and new beginnings that are destined and fated. But it would lead to a commitment rather quickly because of the position of the sun. All right. That's what I have for you. And all said and done, please go track how you're feeling about your career November of 24 and August of 25, like I did, and see if you can find some career pegs as well. If you're retired, then how you are operating regarding your long-term committed marriage house, right? It also connects to your long-term committed marriage stories in the visible reputation space as well. So you could track it that way as well, not just career. So I can remember my story, but I'm not going to share it with you guys here. All right. It is Pisces, sun, moon, and rising, best and always best. We're finishing with you. This is a big, bold, full light moon in your 9th house of God. It connects you to your spiritual philosophy, ideology, legal, corporate contracts, book publishing deals, higher educational and academic settings, long distance travel, pilgrimages. This began as a beginning on November 1st of 24 in the new moon at 9 Scorpio, August 1st, first quarter moon, 9 Scorpio. That's August of 25. So if you compare those dates plus 2 weeks after each moon, you are making steps toward this position where the moon is now at 9-11 degrees, close enough, Scorpio. Well, you're fulfilling something or completing something that began in the fall of 24. The energy is all about that 9th house that I described to you because there's flow from Jupiter It could indicate children and grandchildren's stories become prominent for you. It may also indicate stories connected to art, creativity, the muse, inspiration, publishing, book publishing, writing, communicating, marketing, and selling. All that gets lit for you. And it's really positive for any of you who are also thinking that you want to get pregnant or that your children may be getting pregnant. I think it's just vibing out here with that stuff. Now, the possibility with the North Node amplifying your identity and getting you into step into some new, more destined, bigger worldly success boots than you normally wear. And the moon in the ninth house could indicate popular public appeal and success in the book publishing industry over the next 6 months. And maybe, like, for instance, November 24, you started the outline of the book. And then August of 25, you had editors looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a stepping stone here of some kind. Same with conception. Same with romantic love. Where were you in the romantic love stories that I just outlined those dates? And if you're doing romantic love, and this is a story that could fulfill some more directions there, maybe you and your partner want to get married because the house of one way that we get married is in a church setting or a synagogue or like an institution of religious ideology. And this could lead to that story as well. In the next 6 months, wedding bells may ringeth, especially since Jupiter is also ruling the 10th house of weddings. So romance goes to legal wedding is what I'm trying to tell you. We see the full moon squaring Juno Pluto. Maybe some agreements from distant shores and far off lands, people, places, and things. Unfortunately, though, there could be a disagreement energy, and you might have to break an agreement with somebody. If you do, they probably live in a distant shore or far off land. And they may also connect to it could just be a disruption of an agreement regarding travel plans, something as simple as that, coming off this lunation. Maybe because of monetary issues. But the moon as well has a finger of God embedded within it. So Venus, Saturn, pointing at the moon with the sun at the midpoint. Bottom line, you want to take aim for ninth house success stories to be fulfilled for you or completed. The end of the court case, the acceptance in your favorite university, the completion of your higher education, the activation of long distance travel plans, the fulfillment of a religious ideology, the movement towards weddings and institutional religious settings. Venus is saying from the home and the homeland. Saturn is saying money and earnings and resources. They're taking aim here from the third house. So if you're going to do something like this, could be doing a home-based wedding, or because the money is too tight, this could be moving towards home-based entrepreneurial business success, where you're going to make money in a steadfast, enduring, long game strategy, Saturn. And Mercury, you can sell like the bejesus out of anything you do at home. Make pottery at home, write at home, communicate at home, sell from home. It's even Jupiter says, go entrepreneurial. So home-based entrepreneurial business success, destined finger of God mission energy could be a story here for you. And if you already have that going, great, it'll get stronger. If you don't, you might pivot in that direction rather than being employed by somebody else. Watch out with the South Node in your 7th house. Mercury rules your marriage house. He's with Chiron and Mars, Saturn. It could indicate a moon that's going to bring your partner into long-term love partner into some health challenges. And they may be quite significant health challenges. All right. And that moon, though, would reflect the financial struggle or difficulty that could happen. Well, partner goes into maybe struggles in health that could lead to medical bills or hospital situations showing up here. Not to worry you, but I'm being honest. Venus is protective in the 4th house, but she's with jolts and surprises Uranus. And trines Pluto. If you're thinking you're going to get some inheritance money or in-law money coming your way, that could also be indicated here in the next 6 months after this moon. So there you go. Now you can hear the dumpsters and the guys in the alleyway. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. I put out a lot of videos every month, and your liking and subscribing really helps me. Thank you, everybody. Take care and enjoy that lunation ahead of us. Astrology is a map, but it's not a map of place. It's a map of time. What I love about teaching astrology and having people use this time map is that it helps them navigate their life. You wouldn't get out of your house and go ahead and start traveling without a literal map or a GPS unit, especially if you don't know the terrain. Well, astrology is the map. It is the terrain of time. And in our course, the Divine Timing Masterclass, we're going to be learning about 5 very powerful precision tools in astrology to time your best life. But here is the thing. This is a course that takes ancient timing tools and Time Lord tools, and yes, helps you navigate reality with greater ease and flow and even luck because you know how to work with it. But it is not the only part that astrology offers you. It's not only a prediction map of time. Once you start going down the astrology rabbit hole, you, like me, begin to wonder about fate and free will, like who's in charge here? Because you're going to see the arc of destiny, and you're going to notice if you use these timing tools, not only how to look forward, but how to look backwards. And one of the most surprising parts of this is that when we turn around and look backwards using astrology, we see pattern recognition and cycle repetition. And that is useful. Number one, it gives a sense of destiny and meaning to our lives where we understand no choices we made were right or wrong. They weren't mistakes. The choices and actions we took were a part of a greater plan. The second thing I love about pattern recognition and cycle repetition, because it's pretty reliable, you can use it to time your best life because you can say, okay, I've done this one before. I've been through this set of eclipses every 18 and a half years. I know how they operate in my chart. And well, it's never the exact same story in exactly the same way. The archetypes underneath the story are the same. Venus, Pluto archetypes, the love of power and the power of love, right? So like it's one energy playing out in different ways in our lives. And, you know, I mean, we can get like a jealousy and a betrayal story with Pluto, but we can also get the depth of love, true love, transformative love, and regenerative love. So how these stories play out depends on how you receive them and how you choose to interact with them. So in my Divine Timing Masterclass, I've chosen 5 tools that I think I can teach intermediate to advanced beginner students. And I have taught this class before in 2022 and 2021, but not all of these tools. I taught 4 of these tools, I believe. So in our class, if you want to join me in the Divine Timing Masterclass for 5 consecutive weekends in the month of May on Saturdays, I'd love to have you there. There's a little checklist on my website that's going to ask you whether or not you think you're ready for this class, because you don't want to take this class if you've never before learned the meaning of the planets, the meanings of the houses, how to recognize the astrology glyphs. If you don't know the rudimentary language of astrology, this course will not be for you. This is for those advanced beginners and intermediate students. And by the way, if you want to learn the basics, come to my Sky Reader course. Every September we begin, and this year's course will be at least 7 weeks rather than a traditional 6, to allow for a slower learning curve for some of you who find the pace a little fast. But I am teaching you a new language. All right, when you start off as a beginner, and no one learns Italian or Greek overnight. My name is Lori Lothian, by the way, and I am Lunatic Astrology, and we are learning together. I'm going to show you the website that I put up that shows you the basic layout of the land of this course that's coming up. It's going to be modular. There are 5 weekends, there are 5 courses, there are weekly Q&As that are attached to each module, which I go into a coaching mode or in a help mode to help you if you're confused on the tool or to guide you further. So you're getting the class with me, which will go at least most times 90 minutes minimum to 2 hours sometimes. And then you're going to get the actual follow-up for that module in a midweek Q&A with a replay for all of it. And you get to keep the course forever. It's evergreen. Once you take it with me, it's yours. You don't, it's like, it's saved for you on my teaching platform, and you can go back and learn it anytime. So I want to just say the 5 tools are modular because some of you may already know these tools and you're like, oh, I have to sign up for a 5-week course, but I already know 2 of the 5 tools really well, and I don't really think I need to learn it. I get that. So I decided to make it modular, but with an incentive for you to level it up and take that course the whole package, because there's consistency of community. I have a Facebook group for you guys to meet in and chat. You can start your own WhatsApp groups if you want to really connect with each other. And there's also consistency of the content building on each other. But yes, you can do it in a standalone mode. So I'm just going to show you the website just to show you. It's not the final version. The enrollment cart won't open to the public until later on, I think about April the 10th. And if you're on the early bird discount, that's a different story. That was a sign up option. Let's show you the actual picture of this website that I mocked up for, getting the basics down. So I'm on my Lunatic Astrology website. Divine Timing Masterclass, enrollment doors open, April, and the date is coming. And a 5-week deep dive into ancient predictive timing tools. So you're going to get a weekly live Q&A call with me that you can come to, and you're going to get a private Facebook group. And I may put a Discord group up there as well. I'm not good at running them, but I have a fellow colleague who will maybe do that for me. And all the content is available for replay. And we start May the 2nd. And so here's what I want to say. Remember, the checklist I'm going to be giving you. I thought I wrote it in here, the FAQ, but it is like, if you don't know how to recognize a planetary glyph yet, you don't know the meanings of the 12 houses, you don't know rulerships, Venus rules, 2 signs, Libra and Taurus, and she's exalted in the sign of Pisces, then you're probably not ready for this class at all. And here are the actual module. So, planetary decades, and it's about your unique timing. It's a very cool tool. And I learned this years ago from Austin Kopek, and I use it in my own life just as a guidepost, but it's unique to your own natal chart and in the order of the planets in your chart in zodiacal order. So it's a really simple, but fun, but accurate timing tool for your life. The next one is Fidaria, which is a very powerful time map. It's a little bit like Fidaria, the Dasha system in India, where you have a Mahadasha and an Antardasha, meaning that Vedic astrology tool gives you certain years and windows of time, certain ages, and when there's one planetary power ruler over you. Like I just finished a long run through my moon Mahadasha, and now I'm in my Mars Mahadasha in the Vedic system. This is Fidaria. It's a similar idea. It's an ancient Hellenistic timing tool. It's extremely enlightening, and it depends on whether you're born in the day and the night. And then we have solar arc times. I call it God's clock. This is my favorite tool. I've been using it for years, and I can't wait to teach that to you because I've got some insider hacks from a lot of experience over 7 years and thousands of clients about the best way to use God's clock. And you also have zodiacal releasing, karmic turning points using a lot of eros, a lot of love, and a lot of fortune. And this is a very powerful Hellenistic tool, and it definitely works. I've taught a class on it already, but I'm putting my guest teacher expert, Kaylee Michelle, in here. She taught this as an extra advanced module in my last Sky Reader, and she was really loved, and she's really good at giving you worksheets to do this and really learn it. And so I am so happy to have her sharing her wisdom for the 3rd week's class, my guest teacher, Kaylee. And then distributions through the bounds. These are your life's chapters. They're extremely, very useful. I remember Kamala Harris was out of the running for the Democratic Party. She dropped out of the race to be nominated at the convention, and everyone was tossing her out the door. And I looked at her zodiacal releasing back in the first election with Joe Biden back then, not the second election, the Joe Biden one where she became vice president. And I said, oh my God, no, she's going to be okay. And no one understood why, because I'm like, she's going to go to power here. How could she go to power when she got knocked out of the race for the presidency and Joe Biden took over the lead? Well, she became his vice president pick. So this kind of thing works. I did it with I have a fellow astrologer who was having a reading for me back then when I was first learning this tool from Ben Dykes back in the pandemic era. And I said, you're going to write like lots of books in this window of time. Now she's written 3 or 4 astrology books, and it was all in using the distributions through the bounds tool, which I'll be teaching. And lastly, we have bonus courses for self-study. So this is if you are literally going to take the whole bundle and you want to be there for all classes, or just have them at your disposal for future reference. I love that I'm going to give you the annual advanced perfection tool video from a class I've already taught live, my solar return masterclass, and my natal progressed lunation course as well. Those are replays of 2-hour courses I've taught before with supporting documentation and slides. It's about a value of $99, $33 each. You get that because you want to sign up for the bundle. So I'm trying to incentivize people to sign up for all of the videos. All the information you're going to need in order to sign up for my class and to get enrolled for that class, and enrollment carts will open to the general public around the 9th of April. I'm using an auspicious election for that, for the early bird discount people who got on the wait list for that class, and there's a few hundred of you. I will be sending you the email. If you're listening to this video and you're not on the early bird discount wait list, then you can find the link to that wait list in this video underneath this video. Otherwise, if you're catching this later after the April 10th, 9th, 10th, then the information to enroll and the link to enroll is under this video. So I'm excited. To me, astrology is the tool that I use. Like I breathe, you know what I mean? I shower, I brush my teeth because I live and breathe it. But it's also a way to connect to the divine wisdom that's operating through my life. Because I can say, oh, no wonder I hit a wall last week, Sun, Saturn conjunct in Aries, and I'm an Aries sun and I hit a wall. And I can understand that wall, this too shall pass, right? That wall has a lesson for me and then it's over. I can anticipate things. I can work with them and not resist them. And then I can extract the deeper lessons of what I am experiencing because it's happening for a reason. So astrology to me is like how to know the mind of God. And that's one of the reasons I think I call this a divine timing masterclass, because we're looking at understanding the will of the divine in each of our lives by looking at the map of time in each of our lives. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's something that you can groove with, and we'll be getting that course going. And I'm excited in May to be teaching that to you. I'm moving in May, but I'm also teaching a class. That is what happens when you're in Aries with a Saturn Aquarius rising story going on, Saturn on the ascendant. You buck through anything, even a move in May, and I'll be sharing this class with you guys. I'm looking forward to it, actually. So come aboard. If you're not sure you're ready for the class, remember the checklist will be there for you. I think it was on the page. I didn't show it to you. Then no worries. You can always reach out to me by email. All my contact information is under all of my YouTube videos and stuff, and ask me to be more specific with your circumstance. The biggest risk you have is taking a class in astrology that is over your head. Then you continue to study astrology over the years and it's no longer over your head. And then you can use that class, you can go back and learn it. And I've had that happen to me where I've signed up when I was learning astrology for a course that was too sophisticated for me. And then I went back later and I figured out, oh my God, now I understand what the teacher's teaching. So that's the worst case scenario is you jump on in and you're not quite ready. But hey, guys, you got to know the basics. So if you don't know the basics, it's not the class for you. I'll see you guys in the Divine Timing Masterclass in May 2026. I'm so looking forward to having you there and playing in the sandbox of divination together.